Welcome to Fairy Tale Access, where the head fairy's quest is to prove that fairy tales do exist in actual time, rather than once upon a time. Together, we will unravel the heroes, young and old, who turn dreams into reality. These are the people who still believe in happily ever after. The discoveries will bend even our most cynical non-believers into believing in fairy tales. Welcome to Fairy Tale Access. This is a place where fairy tales exist in actual time rather than once upon a time. And together, we're going to discover the Nashua Library's Children's Department. It's the place that Dr. Seuss must have been thinking of when he said, the more you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. And to describe some of the great places we can go in the library, I have librarian and the supervisor of the Children's Department, Mrs. Kathy Bolton.
Good morning.
Morning. Welcome. Thank you for
Nice to be
joining
here.
us.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, you work for the Nashua Library in the Children's Services Department?
I do. Yes, I'm the children's librarian in Nashua.
Great. And how long has the Nashua Library actually been around?
Well, from what I've understood over the years, it was back in 1867, that long ago, that Nashua had its first public library, and it was up on top of the County Municipal Records Building. So I assume it was just a small, area with a small collection of books for the community to use. But the building that we're most familiar with, I think, is the Hunt Memorial Library Building on Library Hill.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, are very familiar with that building because of its beautiful Gothic Revival architecture. So Nashua was able to get that building in 1903, and that was the year that it opened up. And that is a building that was given by Mary A. and Mary E. Hunt. And it was in memory of John Hunt. And these were prominent Nashua community people. So they dedicated the library in 1903. And it was, the architecture, like I say, is that Gothic Revival. And it was, Ralph Cram was the architect on the building. And it's just so distinct. That it's a beautiful, beautiful building. And so it served as Nashua's public library until 1971. And in 1971, the Carter family donated money to the city to build the library that we are currently in. And it opened in September of 1971. So we've been there for, some time now. And it has its own distinct architecture that really does harken back to the 70s. But we've tried to keep it, up to date, current, modern looking throughout the years. And I remember it distinctly myself as a young person who was born and raised in Nashua. I was in high school when it opened. And it was a big deal for us to go downtown. We were on dual sessions during my junior and senior year. And it was so neat to go into the Music, Art, and Media department and play records on their turntables and have headphones on to listen to the music. We just thought we were so cool. So that's, it was, we just have grown and we've changed and moved things around and just, expanded that building also over the years. Because when that library was first built, the East Wing, which was on the second floor of the building, and the West Wing were both empty rooms. They were left for expansion. So they really thought ahead about, how big to build that building and how much room to leave. Now, we have moved into the West Wing area, which is now the Music, Art, and Media department. Mm-hmm. That one that I went to as a teenager upstairs is now down on the second level and is taking up a good amount of space.
I know. It's deceiving when you do drive up to the Nashua Library because it looks so small.
Yes.
But it's like they somehow built it into the cliff.
Exactly.
And it goes down.
Yep.
So we really are entering on the third floor?
Yes, when what we say is that when that entrance on the street level is the third floor of the library, you go down to the second level, which is the music, art, media level, the administrative offices, our theater, and the east wing, which is waiting for further development. And then down, the furthest down, the first level, which is on our parking lot level, that's where our maintenance department is and where we used to keep our bookmobile, our outreach van, and all of that sort of thing. And it goes out to right to the Nashua River, so it's a beautiful location.
It really is.
Yes.
And it's really different the way they set it up.
Yeah.
So how long have you been with the library?
A long time. I started as a very young lady. I was 21 years old when I started there. That was in 1976. Mm-hmm. I've been there for that time. In 1980, I became the supervisor of children's services, and I continued to be that 32 years later.
Wow. Well, what drew you to be a librarian?
Well, what happened, as I mentioned before, we were on dual sessions. I went to Nashua High School. It's the Elm Street Middle School now, but it was the high school back when I was there. And we were on dual sessions, and I remember it was my freshman year, actually. They came to the study hall and asked if anybody wanted to volunteer in the library. So I did. I put my hand up, and I went up, and for the 4 years I was in high school, I would, on my study periods, go to the library and help Jane Levitt, who was the librarian. And I would check books in and out. I would shelve books. I would, shelve magazines. And it just was very interesting to me. I really liked it. And I was a reader. I grew up in Nashua. I used the Hunt Library and the bookmobile in my neighborhood. So I always liked libraries. Reading was very important in my home. So I liked that. And then when I got out of high school, I thought, well, what am I going to do? I like children. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, I'll be an elementary school teacher. And I thought that would be the direction I would go. But I started taking courses with the state of New Hampshire heads library techniques courses. I took a children's literature course with a lady named Marmee Barker. And she was the previous children's librarian. She had retired, mm-hmm. and she was teaching courses. So I took a course with her, and she said to me one day, there's an opening for a library assistant at the Nashua Library. You should go apply. So I did, and that was in, as I say, 1976. On September 15th was my first day there, and I haven't regretted a day. It's been a wonderful experience to be able to work at the library.
I know, and you've done a lot with that department since you've been there. So can you tell us about some of the special activities that you've created to inspire children to be at the libraries?
Well, I think, over the years we've tried to keep up to date on computers and that sort of thing. That sort of happened in the early 80s when we came up. We had our first Apple computers in the children's room. That drew children, for sure, to the library. But as far as just reading, I think that it really begins at home, and it begins in infancy, that parents are reading aloud to their children. So we have this beautiful big room. And as I say, when they built the building in 1971, they were really thinking about children, I think, because we're on the upper floor. Mm-hmm. We have these wonderful windows around the room. So there's a lot of bright light that comes in during the day. There's lots of space to move around. There's plenty of room for books. And we have, as you say, we've expanded the room and we've moved it around over the years to its current configuration. But it was, and one thing that I always thought was interesting is that there are those bins that are on the floor, and they have alphabet letters on them. They're for children to flip through to see cover art. So that, when you see the cover of a book, it makes a big difference than if you see the spine of the book and you can't see the beautiful art on the cover. So I think that was a very innovative thing that they did, and that those bins have been there since I started in 1976. They were there when the building opened. So it was just a really good idea because little, babies can crawl up and stand up and sort of flip through the books. Older children, they can as well. So I think when they can see the cover art, that's very attractive to them, and they hand it over to a mom or a dad to read to them or take home.
Oh, Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's, we've done some things like that, but I think also our programming that we have for kids and, just being very available to help people find what they need.
I know, and you're involved in a lot of off-site activities, including the Nashua Fairy Tale Festival.
Mm-hmm.
I assume it's because it promotes literacy, but what other activities outside of the library are you involved in?
Well, we've always been involved with the Nashua Public Schools, and we try to get out to the public schools as often as we can. We're willing to go out with the younger grades to do stories or just introduce them. We want every child in Nashua to have a public library card. So as many opportunities that arise like that with the schools, one thing that being that big, beautiful room and the plaza that we have, we've been able to host the Nashua Goes Back to School event for the past 9 years that they've had it. And so it's just wonderful that we're able to do that.
I know, I dress hundreds because the lines I've seen go all the way around the corner by the old Playhouse.
Yeah, the 14 Court Street across the way.
And around the corner from the VFW.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's a big, big event. We have about 1,500 people that are coming to these events, and we gave away 1,500 bags of school supplies, the teachers, the principals, this year. Every year, it seems more and more. So that's a wonderful event that we're able to be involved with. And like, for example, the holiday stroll will be coming up soon. And that's another area. We've always been able to be a venue for that because of our size, our location, and just we've got the room to hold people. So that's what we want to do. We want to be involved with everything that's going on in the community.
That's great. So what does somebody have to do to get a library card? Is there a charge for it? Is there a lot of paperwork? Is it really easy to get, or does it require a little effort?
It's very, very simple. All that we ask is that someone bring something with them that has their Nashua address on it. So it could be a driver's license, or it could be a public service bill that had been mailed to them, or a letter, but something that has their Nashua address on it. So they just would come to the front desk, our circulation desk, which you see when you first walk in the front doors, and then they are able to issue you a library card, and it takes moments to fill out the application. It's very quick and easy. And then you have a library card, and in fact, the library cards that we give today, you get 3 cards. You get a large card, and then you get 2 little key tags so that you've got, and they all have your barcode on them. So if you lose one, then hopefully you remember where you put the others. So,
That's great.
So it's very easy. Children need to be age 5 and over to get a library card, and the parent is the one who gets the library card for them. So if you live in Nashua, if you work in Nashua, if you own property or you go to school, you can get a Nashua Public Library card for free. So all the teachers in the school district, whether they live in Nashua or not, are able to have library cards. It doesn't matter. If you work here, you can get a library card. In that case, you want to bring in a pay stub from your work that shows that you are an employee here in Nashua.
Okay, and what about, how long can they keep the books out for?
The books go out for 3 weeks at a time. They can be renewed twice, so you could actually have them an amount of 9 weeks, as long as no one was waiting for it. If there's a reserve on the book, if there's a hold, then we cannot extend the 3 weeks. But typically, if there's no hold on it, you can have it for, you can renew it twice after you check it out. Our other items, like our DVDs, go for a week at a time. Our other very hot copies of DVDs, the very current movies, they go for 2 days at a time.
Oh, so they don't need to go to Redbox or...
Not at all. Oh my goodness, no. That's the wonderful thing about the public library, as far as I'm concerned, and I always say it's the best bargain in town, because for free you have access to, we probably have 250,000 books in the library, and materials like DVDs. So like you say, no Redbox, free videos. We also still have some VHS, I believe, left in our collection, primarily for children, because some parents do still have that format for their kids and all. But so there are all these wonderful movies that they can take out. But there's also great audiobooks that they can listen to, and it's wonderful.
So what about for the adults? If somebody was doing research or legal research and you didn't have a book that they were looking for, are they able to reserve it through your library so they don't have to travel to Concord or another library that may have the book?
Well, the nice thing about the public library is that we have a fantastic reference staff, and I think anybody over the years will tell you the librarians in our reference department are top-notch. So they really can help folks, really discern what they need and find what they need. So if we don't have it, we can get books through interlibrary loan throughout the state of New Hampshire. So we can get hold of things. They will be delivered to the library, and then they can check them out. We also have some wonderful databases that the library provides for both for adults, for teens, and for children. And sometimes some of those databases are able to get you to the right legal information you might need, or whatever you're looking up, whatever you're interested in. The databases that we have are really great, and it's worthwhile for people to check, look into them. All you need is your library card to use them.
That sounds great.
So it's a really great way to, it's wonderful.
Are there any other ways that technology is changing the way families use the library?
Well, that is a very good question. I think as far as adults go, the soar in use of things like Kindles or tablets, iPads, Nooks, and all of that sort of thing is really on the rise. We have, there's a consortium called the New Hampshire Downloadable Audiobooks, and the library is a way to get hold of those materials so you can check out ebooks and audiobooks through this whole consortium, as I say.
To use on Kindle and things like
yes,
that? Really?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Yes, and you do it from your own home, but from our webpage, you will see a place to go to the audiobooks and ebooks. And so I think it's a great way for people, again, for free, to be able to put books on their tablets and their Kindles and all of that, and read them for a period of time, and then they go away. So it's a service of the Nashua Public Library. Overdrive is the product that produces this, and it's just been great. Now, children's books and teen books are available this way as well in that format, but I don't see so much in the children's area of kids coming in with that sort of format.
What about teenagers?
Teenagers perhaps a little more, and I think, of course, we're going to see, as the years go on, there will be more and more usage of that because it's convenient. But from my perspective, when you come in as a young child, a toddler, a baby, and you're growing and you're learning how to read yourself, that close-to-closeness that you get with a parent or a caregiver of reading a book together, opening it up, turning the pages, looking at the beautiful illustrations, there's nothing that compares to that. I don't think any Nook or Kindle or anything like that is wonderful as they can be, and a wonderful educational device that they may be. It won't compare to that.
I know. I've been to the library and I've seen young children checking out the bins, and they're so excited by the pictures, and that's what really draws them to the book. And you're right, having a caregiver there to read them the book and share the experiences in there, I think that's great.
Well, that's what we try to do. I mean, as I say, with our programming, our story times, et cetera, that we offer during the week, and we do baby story times on Thursday mornings that are just wonderful. So we do a couple of toddler story times, and then I do the babies at 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And I will tell you, it is amazing. The moms and dads bring their children. These babies are little. They may be 8 weeks old, and 2 months, 5 months, 10 months. Their eyes are right on me as we sing simple songs and do simple finger plays. But you can just tell by looking at them that they are so engaged, and they're infants. It's amazing, and it's I have to say, that's the highlight of my week, is Thursday mornings. I love.
Oh, it's
wonderful.
Like
it's so fun with the babies.
That sounds so cute.
It
And
is.
it must be a great way for parents to network too during the day, especially stay-at-home moms. And
Well, it is. It's wonderful for them as a way to get to know other moms and dads. So it's a great social opportunity for them as well as for their children. And I think the library in general is a wonderful place is a social, gathering place for the community. I think Nashua Public Library does a great job at, having areas where people can sit and talk and get to know each other. So it's really great.
that's great. And we're really excited that the library is going to allow us to do a virtual tour.
Oh, yes.
And we'll have that following our segment today. So hopefully you'll be able to give some insight into that tour.
Oh, I would love to. That would be great.
That would be great.
Yeah.
So we have to ask, since you're a librarian and you do work at the library, what is your favorite book of all time?
That is a really hard question for me because there are so many that I love. There are particularly authors that I love, but I guess I so remember in 4th grade being read Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. And my 4th grade teacher, Miss Clark, I just remember it, and I had to have that book. I had to own it. And I've read it, I don't even know how many times, because even as an adult I've read it. So I'd have to say that Charlotte's Web, which, as a matter of fact, turned 60 years old this year. It was written in 1952 by E.B. White, so it's its 60th birthday, but that must be my very favorite. I do love Curious George as a character because I just think he has spanned time, and he is still he's impish and he's curious, obviously, and he's always into things, and I think children really like that character, Curious George. And so he's made a huge revival over the last year or so. There's a television show with him on it and all.
I know.
So you find that sort of thing really does draw kids in, and they want Dora books, or they want, Thomas the Tank Engine, things that go along with television. I mean, you just can't get around that. But there's an author named Cynthia Rylant, and she's one of my all-time favorites. She just spans the ages. She goes from beautiful children's books right up through beginning readers, like Poppleton and Mr. Putter and Tabby. They're just beginning reader books. But then she goes up into the grades as well, and she's got some wonderful books like The Friendly Village and Missing May. And I love her style and her writing. So she's one of my favorites.
Oh, it must be so exciting for children to listen to those stories when you're reading to them on Thursday mornings.
I love it. We do story times on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 10 in the morning. And we do a story time with a puppet show, because we have this beautiful puppet theater that was built for us a number of years ago by the then assistant director, Bob Frost. And so we have this great puppet theater we can use to end our story times, and they love it. I don't know a child that doesn't love puppets. So we actually have circulating puppets in the library, in the children's room, so kids can take them home and do a puppet show at home. So that's kind of a nice little extra type of media that we have there. So the story times are great, and they really do pull the kids in. And then, like I say, with reading to your child being so important, and as they get up and they're getting into like kindergarten, 1st grade, and they're learning to read, that's just such an exciting time, because suddenly the light bulb goes off, and they make that connection between the letters on the page, and that they make words and all of that. And it's just thrilling to watch these kids as they're so excited about it. I can read this book, it's really wonderful.
Oh, that is wonderful. You sound like a great librarian.
Well, I enjoy it. I was blessed to be able to do this job, and I'm really happy that I'm able to do it.
Well, Nashua's very lucky to have you.
Thank you very much. That's very, very nice.
Anybody that goes will see what a wonderful job you do in that department. And as we close today, is there anything else that you'd like families in Nashua to know about the library?
Well, I think that we're open from 9 in the morning until 9 at night, Monday through Thursday. Our hours are convenient. We close at 5:30 on Fridays, but we're open on weekends as well. So there's plenty of opportunity, I think, or I hope, for families to come on down and check us out and look around. And, take out a magazine, take out a DVD, take out a book, spend some time together. We have a beautiful area where kids can play, parents can read. It's just a nice environment. And so I think, if people will just come on in, and again, another thing, when children are doing research for school projects, or adults, or teens, we have wonderful opportunities. We have live homework help, which is available through our homepage. And so we have lots of materials that are available that are going to help people, learn more and be able to learn the things they want to learn. So just come and ask. Just ask us. That's why we're there. Don't feel you're interrupting us on anything. Ask, and we are happy to assist you in any way we can.
And is the children's room or area, is it as quiet as the rest of the library? Do parents need to be concerned?
No, and I don't expect it to be. No, There can be a lot of crying some days. Some days are better than others, it seems. But, it depends on the moods of kids, and you've got all ages, and sometimes they don't want to leave, so they really get, they dig their heels in and they don't want to go. They might have a little bit of, trouble leaving, but, we have all ages in there, so, you could hear crying babies. I don't expect people to be super quiet, but respectful of others, obviously, not too loud. No running, please. I'm always telling kids, because it is a big room, so looks like it's a straightaway to go running on, but, walking feet, that sort of thing.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Mrs. Bolton. It was a pleasure hearing about the library and the things that you do. And I want everybody to visit the library because knowledge is free there. You just need to bring your own container. Until next time, continue asking questions and seek out the possibilities.
So our circulation desk is right here, and it's right as you come into the library. As folks come into the building, immediately to their right is this area, which is an ongoing book sale for the Friends of the Library. The proceeds from the Friends benefits the Nashua Public Library. We're on the upper level of the library. We're in the children's area. And it's a little bit on the quiet side right at the moment, but that's because it's 1 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. In about an hour, it'll get busier. This is the picture book area. The good thing that the library's had is these bins on the floor, which allow cover art to be seen. That's a great way for young people to pick out books because they see the cover art and they see a book that might be of interest to them without even opening the cover. We have a nice area here for the children to sit down and listen to stories. And then in addition to that, something they always enjoy is seeing a puppet show or two from the Puppet Theater that we have built here into an alcove. And this is really popular, our fish tank, which our Board of Trustees, we rent it from Seaworthy Aquariums. Brian Wheeler is the owner, and he comes in once a month and does a program with the kids so that they can learn about freshwater aquariums. And in the meantime, he'll also be cleaning the tank and letting the kids help him do that. Well, that's our new magnet board. We just put that up about a month ago. So that's a magnetic sheet, and they just have a great time playing around with the different magnet pieces that stick to that board. This is our self-checkout here in the children's area. And boys and girls can come up with their library cards and scan their card and then scan the barcodes in the books. And then check out right here without waiting at the desk. This is the puppetry that you're looking at right now. And these are circulating puppets that go out for 3 weeks at a time. You can have quite the little puppet show go on at home. And then bring them back and get some new characters and have some more fun. Kids seem to love them. Now we have 2 areas of new arrivals. This is the nonfiction new arrivals area.
This is our Stearns room, is where we have all of our current magazines. They're on the wall, they're in the red binders. They don't currently circulate until the next month's issue comes out. So this is the Hunt Room. It is a small meeting room, but along all of the walls are books of New Hampshire history and all of the New Hampshire cities and towns. We have some of their histories here as well. Back issues of the Tusitala from the Nashua High School, so we have many years back of that. We also have several walls available for genealogy and doing genealogical research. So the room is used throughout the week for either meetings or for people that are actually doing researching their genealogies. I think people doing their ancestries, it's a very popular pastime right now. And I think a lot of people are going to their libraries to research their ancestry. So it's nice that Nashua has enough material here for people to do a good job with it. An area where people can use microfilm and microfiche. Very often this is looking up newspaper articles from the New York Times, the Boston Globe, or the Nashua Telegraph. And then it just works its way into the nonfiction straight over to the windows. So you have an area here for quiet study, and then in the alcoves, like you see down there, there's like individual places where people can work. The Q is because it's an oversized book. I don't know if Q was for queen size or exactly where, but it's used before the Dewey number to designate that it is a book that's too large to stand upright on a regular, normal shelf. We have both fiction and nonfiction large print books. We have 2 alcoves of world languages. We've got this one which has Portuguese, Spanish, and French. And then this other one that has the German, the Hindi, the Lithuanian, Russian books. We have quite a few Chinese books, so this takes both sides. And then as you come into the teen room, the perimeter on 3 walls, well, about 3.5 walls, 2.5 walls, I beg your pardon, are the hardcover books. And then we have a couple walls of just where young adults can use computers. We have PlayStation, we have Wii, we have Xbox 360. They circulate, and they circulate well. So as we head down the stairs to the middle level, this is a view of the Jackson Mills Dam that was painted by James Aponovich. This is the image gallery. So there's lots of artwork that's up on the walls right now. These are local artists. It varies and it changes on a monthly basis. So this is the Npl Theater. It has a surround sound systems. When we show our films on Tuesday nights, we do films for adults or young adults as well. And then on Saturday afternoons at 2, we've been showing children's films for many years now. So the theater holds probably 75 people, and that may be some children sitting up on the floor to watch a film as well as people sitting in the seats. This room is used also for lots of meetings are held in here, or when presentations are being done by speakers or authors or performers at times. This is our collection of our biographies. It's been weeded pretty heavily because we want to bring this back upstairs. We're down here in the middle level of the library in the east wing. This is the last area of the library that hasn't been renovated as of yet. So where the Hunt Room only holds around 10 to 12 people, we can probably easily do 25 or so people around a table here. Our Friends group also uses the back area here to house the books that come in as donations. So they have a lot of books in this area that they're holding for future book sales. This is our technical services area where all the books are received and processed. They order them, they receive them, they make them look nice with new covers and pockets, and they deliver them to us upstairs, ready to go on the shelves. All right, so then this is the approach into our music, art, and media department. Media sets out a display of their new arrivals right out here. Extremely popular area, whether your interest is music and you want something on CD, or we have a huge DVD collection here. We also have a very large collection of audiobooks on CD. These are extremely popular with folks that may be traveling to their place of work so that they get a chance to listen to a book while they're driving along. I think I know a lot of people who walk and listen to books on CD as well. We do have art prints that circulate. This one here is one at the fire back in, I can't remember when that was exactly, but a very long time ago. But these have barcodes on them and they get checked out just like a library book. So you can kind of do some artwork in your home and then just change it up as you bring your artwork back and change it for something else. It's kind of neat. And so this is the baby grand piano that a couple of directors ago, Clark Davis purchased for the library. It's a beautiful baby grand piano. It has the ability to be, you can put CDs into it so that it's almost like a player piano, and the keys will move, according to whatever is being played there. I think kids are fascinated by this. I guess the last area down here is the Weiner room. That's another computer area. When you're 5 years old or older, you can get your own Nashua Public Library card. Mom or Dad fill out the library card application for you, and it's free to anyone who lives or works, goes to school, or owns property in Nashua. It's a free library card.